doing it! Yes. Hello, everyone. We are live. And unlike what happens normally on Wednesdays, I have also remembered to make sure that everyone's audio is turned on. I really freaked out for a hot minute. I know the stream's going, but honestly, I thought I hadn't started it for some reason. I know it's impossible, but I get nervous just like people. Just like humans do. Anyway, I would like to welcome you all back again this week to our newest indoor adventure in part 2 of Hallowed. Last week, man oh man, last week is in kind of a need of a recap, I would say, to really get a full understanding of the situation, the scene as it were. First, Blake met with a force of darkness, as well as his patron, as well as a spirit that kind of dwells inside him of a ancient black dragon, who has agreed / made Blake agree to allow him to act as a vessel for these ancient dragon powers, and in return, Blake has gained the fiend as a profane soul pact blood hunter, and he was in Makoth's shop late at night after a hard night of drinking, where he was convinced by our dear blind tiefling friend to join in the merriment of having a patron. And that was kind of where Blake was left off after witnessing the death of a celestial patron and then getting confronted with said dragon. On the other side of the camp, we had Gwen doing the most Gwen thing possible of having a rompous roughhouse with a dwarf fellow by the name of Mugwort, one of Caelum's good buddies. And then after that was done, you decided to check in on your two baby birds, Cori and Caelum, and find out just what it was those crazy kids are getting up to now. And so you tried both of the doors and found that Caelum and Cori were actually trancing together. Oh, so scandalous. And during that time, you decided to reach your hands out to put their hands on top of each other, as you thought it was going to be a right fun romp. And that is when you saw a walnut-sized orb of light begin pulsating in between your two elf friends, where it then crystallized into a glass sphere that again is walnut-sized, very tiny. That was actually taken by a raven that swooped into the room and then flew away with it. Caelum and Cori, while in Caelum's meditative state, actually witnessed what appeared to be a crumbling of a gate inside of Caelum's meditation, where, having heard the song from Cori's wood elf dreams, ravens began to fly inside, eventually deteriorating the memory to the point where it crystallized. And then they decided to wake up with a raven holding a crystal orb flying quickly out of a window. Both Gwen and Cori decided that they were going to rush after it and look out from it on the rooftop. And when they turned around, they saw that Caelum was actually walking out the door, and they see the edge of his cape and the back of his foot as he is just leaving, exiting the premises. And that is where we are going to pick up. Sorry, poor choice of words. That is where we are going to pick up. With Caelum leaving the scene and Cori and Gwen turning around to find him, not very quietly, exiting this place.
Did we see him grab his stuff?
He has, yeah, you look back and he is just like moving out, and there's like his bundle of things that he had is gone with him.
Okay, Gwen is just gonna run after him and go for his legs and say, nope!
Okay, make an attack roll.
Oh, good.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not terrible. Oh, did I get attack roll? Get into actions! D&D Beyond, 17.
Okay, what is your AC, Caelum?
15.
Aha!
All right, so yeah, this is going to then count as a grapple. So I would like a strength contest. So Gwen, roll your athletics. Caelum, roll for acrobatics or athletics, depending on which one you would prefer.
Ooh, where are you going so far?
All
I
right.
got a natural one, but it's
15.
So yeah, Caelum, you just have Gwen come up and like she takes you by surprise. You were not expecting to have her just like rush up on you as you were trying to leave. And she kind of scrabbles for your legs, but her arms aren't actually long enough to wrap around both of your legs to really like keep you in one place. So like she's like trying to scrabble onto your leg, but you are just confidently walking forward. Away from the scene as Gwen just sort of gets left behind. And Gwen, you are now prone as you had tried to drive or dive for the legs as Caelum escaped.
It is more confidence, more like he turns after she like lunges and he's like freaked out.
Friends don't leave!
I think Cori was a little bit slowed down, a little slow on the uptake there, as she is wont to do. And then she'll, like, start moving towards them, just... Caelum, where are you going?
Just shakes his head. I'm sorry, I don't...
Caelum,
I didn't mean for this to happen. I'm
are you
sorry.
alright? What happened? Are you okay?
I've got to go. I can't be here. I can't...
Where? Why?
Is there, like, an open... Like... We're in the hallway, right?
Yeah, you guys are in the hallway.
Is there like a window?
Oh my god!
Yes, there is actually a window.
And-
It's at the end of the hallway.
How far is that?
That is roughly 20 feet from where you are.
Blessing of the Raven Queen. I'm just gonna slide and then out the window.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn to Cori. What did you do to him?
So also, when you form of the Raven Queen at level 3, what does this look like as the two of them see you bamf over?
It's the strangest sensation because he's never done this before at 3rd level. So you basically see like wisps of ethereal feathers just like floating around him, and then he sort of turns into this wispy thing as like from bottom up his armor sort of changes into like this hoplon of the Raven Queen. Like he gets a helmet and it's like this sort of faceless mannequin mask, and then he just like vanishes.
Looks like magic shit to me.
Looks like magic shit.
All right, so you are just like diving out the window.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, you are going to take 9 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall from a 2nd-story window.
And Caelum's dead.
You got your wish, Barry!
Yeah, no, Gwen looks very angry at Cori. What'd you do?
I don't know. Then Cori's gonna run down the stairs and after him.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump out the window too.
Real friends jump after.
Real friends!
Jump out the
Jump out
window.
windows.
Okay. Yeah, so make a perception check.
Oh god, okay.
I
Like,
just imagine
to see where I can land?
To
Because I don't think...
see if you see him on the ground, because I'm assuming that it wasn't a very graceful landing. He might still be in view.
Right. Perception is a 12.
Okay, Caelum, would you like to be stealthing as you go? Okay, so...
that's me try. So, you know how whenever I roll like a 1 on a dex check, it turns into a 0 because I have a -1 dex?
Yeah.
I have a 0 right now.
Yeah, so you actually see Caelum, like, still, like, he's maybe, he's kind of, like, at the end of the walkway, maybe, like, 10 feet away from the base, from, like, your jumping point at the window. And he's just kind of looking both ways down the street, having this torn idea as to which way he wants to go, left or right.
Okay. Yeah, I jump.
Okay, make an attack roll.
An attack roll or athletics?
Are you trying to grapple him, or are you trying...
Oh, is he close enough for me to
Yeah,
jump on him?
he's close enough that
for
you
sure.
could jump to him from
For
your...
sure.
Okay,
I'm
make
gonna try
an
and jump on him.
Make an athletics check, and I'm gonna say you have advantage on this because I really like the way that this is going. Caelum,
Really?
Yeah, Caelum. You can roll a. You can make an athletics or acrobatics check at disadvantage, as you aren't really. You weren't really thinking that one of your friends was going to jump out the window at you.
Okay.
Maybe near you.
19.
So you know whenever I roll a 1 on a dex
Oh my god, really?
I got 2 1s in a row. What the fuck?
Hey man, get him out of the way now. It's
The universe
fine.
doesn't want you to leave.
This is your forever home.
This is your whether you like it or not.
So yeah, and Gwen, you are going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage.
That's good. That's good.
And then Caelum, you will take 2. As your gnome friend, you just hear, ah! And, like, you look
fucking
back.
call me?
Halfling.
Halfling, sorry, my bad.
Oh boy.
It's been a week.
Connor's face.
That's all right. I'll just peace out. I don't need to DM anymore.
Connor's popcorn.
Wake him back.
You guys get no story resolution because I'm bad at races.
Racist.
All right, so yeah, as your halfling friend just jumps out of the window and just rams right into you, you are now grappled as you are kind of like pinned onto the ground by this halfling.
I'm not trying to hold him down. I'm just like I have backpacked myself onto him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm
This is like siblings, like just like trying to prevent the other one from getting up and doing anything.
Don't tell mom. Don't tell mom.
Don't know, Mom.
You can hit me. You can hit me.
Oh man.
I thought of a name for the group, and you can't leave.
Coriander like comes around the corner, just like skidding.
Ah!
What is going on? The two of you just jumped out a window. What is happening here?
I don't know, and it's freaking me out.
That's what friends are for.
Freaking me out?
No, for helping you through shit. Now stand up.
Caleb just like, sits up.
Cori's
I'm still
gonna
attached to
crouch down next to them and put like hands on his shoulders and just be like, listen, I don't know what happened back there, and I don't think you did either. It was strange, don't get me wrong. It was strange and it was frightening, but that's okay. We learned something. We learned that there are ravens that come and take your memories while you're asleep. I think. I'm not sure. Regardless.
What the fuck did you guys do?
I don't know.
I swear to God, Cori, if you hurt him, I will.
Gwen?
Hurt me. I don't know if I hurt Cori. It's.
Listen. That wasn't you. Whatever it wasn't you. You're fine. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, I signed up for stuff like this. I'm all right with some danger every now and then. And it wasn't even that bad. What, like, one memory gone? That's fine. It's fine.
doesn't sound fine when you put
We
it
don't.
like that.
We don't have to do it again. It's okay. If you don't want to do it anymore, we don't have to. It's fine. Cori's just gonna hug him. Ah!
Oh,
Ah!
group hug.
Aw.
Group hug!
While this super special, endearing moment is going on, that's when we're gonna pan back to Blake. And Blake, you have just had a pact forced upon you by an ancient black dragon. And where we left off last time was Makath sitting on the ground, her knees up to her chest, saying, "Holy shit." Well, that was something.
Is there a way to undo it?
So remember when I said before all of this that you probably wanted to think about it for a while because once a pact is made, it's very difficult to unmake that pact. I wish I could tell you how. I wish I could tell you a lot of things.
But I didn't agree. That's something you can do. It's got to be something you can do.
Well,
I'm gonna get up real close to her. Makath, there's something you can do. You have to fix this.
Look, it probably would have been pertinent information to know about whatever it was that was glowing on your arms and
I'm gonna
legs.
pin her up against the wall. You're gonna fucking fix this.
And as you kind of like pin her up against the wall, you actually see that her blindfold starts to slip. And then it comes down off of her face. And the eyes that you see back are not the cataract eyes that you were expecting a blind woman to have. You don't see any scars. What you see is what looks to be searing around the side of her eyes in the back. And where her eyes would be, it looks like star fields, just as far back as you can possibly see, just a mixture of tiny bright colors, and just small vibrant lights just looking back at you. And where you would think that there would be the sheen of where there would be an eyeball, it actually just looks like they go in, that they go far, far in. And she just looks at you and says, I'm going to tell you right now, trust me, if there was a way that I could unmake a pact, I would, Blake. If you could please set me down. I may not have been entirely honest with you about my vision, but I am more than honest about not knowing how to get out of one of these.
Please. And I'm gonna fucking start crying into her shoulder.
Okay. And she is, like, her hands are just sort of up, and she puts one on the back of your head and the other just kind of on your arm. And she just tells you, I'd like to say it's going to be all right. I'd like to tell you that everything is going to be fine. I'd like to tell you all sorts of things. But the one thing that I can tell you is that this doesn't define who you are. Whatever it is that happened here, this is not who you have to be. If you just want to go and live on a farm, that's fine. And you can just work the fields until you die and have that be the spiteful final axe against whatever it is that's attached itself to you. But the thing with things like these is that they are so much more than we give them credit for.
This is what I was trying to avoid.
I know. And I thought that we had everything set. I thought that we had it right. Because I didn't want this to happen. We are in the same boat right now, and it might be sinking. But we can still bail water until we find land, eh? Then once we find that spot, once we find that piece of landing, maybe not as partners, but as friends, then we can help each other out and get ourselves out of this, whatever this is.
I'm gonna get out of whatever this is.
Okay.
You're no friend of mine. I'm gonna fucking leave.
And as you are leaving, you hear as you walk up the stairs away from her chamber, you hear the phrase, "I was just trying to help." And you just continue out the door, out of Makoth's shop, and you actually see that Scruff is sitting on top of his dresser, where he was sleeping last time, and he just seems to be comfortably asleep. He doesn't seem to be to have any kind of recollection as to what's been going on.
So walking back to the bar.
Okay.
Up my wineskin.
Okay.
Start chugging as I walk down.
All right. And so, yeah, it's about a 20-25 minute walk back.
I drain it.
Oh, yeah. In does it refill? Is that your haunted item?
It refills if it's interred with a dead person.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So you drink your dead person wine. Mm-hmm. And as you finish it, and
slightly more alcoholic Caduceus Clay.
Oh yeah. More of a drinker than a tea man. And you are just going to town on this, and it, like, you can feel that acid reflux burn, and you actually start to feel a burning sensation over your chest as well, and you know that it's where your malformed scales are, and it just seems to be pulsing with this vibrant heat as you continue to drink.
I feel like that's going to be a little bit more intense than heartburn. But I'm not taking off my shirt right now.
Yep. And as you come around the corner, you see just like wineskin down, a little bit like coming down your jaw, completely disheveled and looking like you've probably aged like 10 years in 20 minutes. You see Cori, Caelum, and Gwen all having this group hug moment on the ground.
Now that's real fucking cute.
And the three of you look over and you see that Blake is just kind of like like very much not on his full center of balance with 2 feet.
Lots of blood. Now we have this to deal with.
Y'all don't have to deal with anything. Y'all okay?
Are we okay? I am backpacked onto Caelum.
Caelum has like glass in him from busting out a window.
He's like, oh.
Oh.
Caelum tried to run away.
Why?
They made a gem baby, and then a raven came and took it away, and then Caelum tried to bail. I think Cori did something. I'm not sure.
So I've studied the gods of some point. The like human gods.
Yeah.
Not dragon gods, unfortunately, but do I know about the Raven Queen?
Make a religion check.
I'm drunk.
You can make it a disadvantage.
9.
You've heard something about the Raven Queen before. You know that ravens are usually a symbol of ill omen. And if she's the queen of ill omen, that sounds like a mighty fine disposition to be in.
But with a 9, I probably wouldn't connect any dots here.
No.
So I'm sorry, what?
Caelum, are you going to be all right?
What?
I think I'm calming down.
Okay, just don't go anywhere. Just gonna
That's
stand
good.
up and help Blake back up to his room.
I'm good. I'm good.
No, it's all right.
All right.
Come on, big guy.
Hey, don't you do anything to him either, okay?
She just rolls her eyes, which is a hard expression to pull off when you don't have any pupils.
What she
I
mean
feel
by
it.
either?
Something happened with me and Caelum. We were doing a trance thing, and, well, long story short, I think I know why he's losing so many memories from his past lives.
Wait, what?
You've had a bit, haven't you? Let's head on back upstairs.
Yeah,
One
I
step
did.
at a
I did
time.
sober at a little bit, but it's gone now.
Come on, Caelum, let's go back up to your room.
Why are you in a bed sheet?
Oh. Well, there wasn't any time to dress when you go flying out a window and I, like, tie it in a tighter knot.
Walking back up the stairs.
You can always
I
count
am
on
still
Gwen.
backpacked. I'm not letting go.
Yeah, thankfully when you go inside, it seems like Swift is actually in the kitchen right now, just kind of like mewling
yeah.
away to him. He doesn't seem to have taken notice of the two people jumping from the second story window.
Good.
Cori makes Blake drink some water and then puts him to bed.
I begin drawing another chalk sigil on the floor.
Okay.
It is very close to the outer circle that Makoth drew, except not good at all.
You drew it mostly drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Did you wait for Cori to leave before starting this? No?
No, you tried to put me in bed, and I was like, no, hold on, I need to draw something.
Can this wait?
No,
What's going?
no, I have to draw it, or another angel might die.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you need help? What can I do?
Pray.
You know we don't do that, right?
Oh. Sorry, humans, they prayed.
Oh,
They're patrons, they're gods, that stuff.
are you in trouble? What's going on here?
He passes out.
Just on the floor
in the middle of the circle.
Can I tell what he was trying to do here?
Make a Arcana check.
Okay. No, not good. 5.
You have no idea what your drunken blood hunter friend was rambling about. another angel dying sounds kind of far-fetched. Like, what could kill an angel? Am I right? Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
man.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, and so you have, like, you don't really have an idea as to what he was going for.
Okay. I drag him into bed.
Okay.
I leave a glass of water next to his bed.
Sounds good.
And I stare at that circle for a second and get the heebie-jeebies before leaving.
And you can see, like, where you dragged him away, it did smear some of the circle as well, like, leading up towards the bed. And, like, Blake just has, like, this white chalk, like, on his freshly cleaned leathers.
Wipe that off. I wipe that off.
Okay.
He gets a blanket. Everything short of a kiss goodnight.
Sounds good.
Cori's mother never kissed her.
It's a lot to unpack with what just happened here. But
Love it.
I think
Cherry on the Sunday.
I think that's one of those, like, oh, my mom never kissed me goodnight, and then you turn away.
I don't have a mother. I never had a father either.
You do now.
And that's the drunken exchange while you're, like, putting Blake in.
Oh no. Okay.
All right, so moving
Bed.
over to Caelum and Gwen, who were outstairs, but now are walking back into the Zesty Anchor. One of you wearing a sheet, and the other with most of your belongings on your back.
How long are you gonna backpack on me? You're muted.
Well, I mean, I kind of was just planning to do this until tomorrow, just to make sure you don't leave.
Jetpacking.
Because I'm not ready for you to leave yet.
Little spoon is the big spoon. Sorry.
The aggressive little spoon.
Aggressive little spoon. Oh, okay, I mean, I'm not gonna go anywhere if that makes you feel any better.
Well, you know, I'm gonna just to be careful, just to be sure, I'm just gonna hang out here if that's cool. And if it's not cool, it's still gonna happen.
Oh. Okay.
Do you want to hear the name I came up with?
Sure.
I'm not very clever, but I thought it'd be nice since we're kind of all like randoms and like we just kind of ended up together where there's 4 of us, so I thought maybe a cool play on words would be 4 keeps, but spelled Four, and then maybe one day we can get 4 keeps and then we'll live up to our name.
That's a lot of keeps.
I know. It's just a thought, you know, we don't have to go with it, but, you know, I don't want to keep you guys for a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, keep.
Yeah.
Caelum's just gonna reach up and behind him and like just pat her head awkwardly.
For sure. And then, like, this conversation has happened with a halfling who is wearing a bed sheet, jetpacking onto the back of our Shatterkai cleric as you guys go up. And are you going into, Caelum, are you going back into your room, or is Gwen like trying to be like, you're sleeping in my room because I'm watching you, like?
No, she's just along for the ride.
Okay.
So wherever he wants to go.
Sounds good.
He's gonna go back into his room.
And Gwen is going to attempt to stay up as long as she can.
Alrighty. So make a Constitution save. You've had a pretty big day. Sun's going down, big guy.
Kind of tuckered out. Constitution. Oh, that's a natural 20.
Oh.
Yeah. You are just like the wine part of being a wine ant has like worn off, and now you're like, all right, I gotta protect this kid.
Yeah.
Or else he's gonna just throw himself out another window.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
Pretty much.
there is very much a that kind of like that caring nature is kind of kicking in. You don't display it very often, but to your friends, these especially this sweet boy. And so, Caelum, are you getting ready for your meditation, or are you going to just sleep and try and just sleep for 8 hours and not meditate?
After tonight's events, he like just rolls it, like he undresses, gets down to his like PJs, rolls into bed and just tucks himself in. He's like, no more meditation for a while.
Sounds good.
Sounds difficult with someone on your back.
You can get up. He's like,
Nope, she is latched on there.
he's like on his side. He's like,
Yep.
One of those like about to start meditating, like, you need anything to drink? No, I'm
Yeah.
fine. Right as you're on the cusp, can you give me a water? Like, there's just like that quick
Can
flip
we go to the
distinction.
bathroom real quick?
There's a bedpan.
"Aw."
All right, so yeah, Caleb, you go into your meditation after a while, after just like kind of mulling it over, and it's weird doing this in such a quick succession as when you tried last meditating. Normally, it takes you a little bit to really get yourself into the zone for it, but at this point, it actually comes very easy as you've had a much more exciting day than you thought that you were going to have. You went to the sewers, you cleared your name, you meditated with Cori for not a whole lot, and now you, after having thrown yourself out a window, are also getting to sleep. And again, when you meditate, you find yourself just sort of on this plateau and looking next
Is he meditating or sleeping?
He said he was meditating.
Oh shoot. Sorry.
Did you?
No, I said he was tucking himself into sleep.
Okay.
Meditation for a while.
So you're sleeping. Oh, sorry. I thought that you said that you were going to meditate for a while. My bad.
Oh,
So,
he said no more meditating.
oh, okay, sounds good. So our sleeping elf, yeah, you find yourself on this plateau, and it kind of falls out from under you, as happened the last time that you were here. And once again, you are just sort of hurtled through this darkness, going head over tail, as it were. And as you go, you can see you see things that you couldn't have possibly seen in your other lives. You see that there's like what looks to be this armored humanoid, roughly 7-8 feet tall, that seems to be attacking a tallish woman, but she is just kind of like throwing these green flames at him. And he just bats them off with a shield and sinks his sword into her. You see that there is a and as he sinks his sword into her, you see just this like burst of fire. You see that there is a group of adventurers that are all trying their best to fight off strange mechanical hordes. And from what you can see, it looks to be a tabaxi with what could possibly be a metal arm, a blue-skinned tiefling, a half-orc who does have a robot arm, as well as a what looks to be some weird fox creature. And they are just battling against hordes of these small mechanical contraptions that are all just flowing out through a large portal in the sky. And you continue to have other dreams like this. You see that there is like a large. It looks like a very, very large lizard, except it has a very pronounced head, tiny little front arms, and a long tail. And he's caught in some sort of giant black pit. And he's sort of like struggling to keep his head up. And as you pass by all of these, eventually you find your feet once again in this small chamber with 8 sitting pillows and 7 robed figures that are all dressed very much like you. And looking down, you can see that your armor is kind of turned into these robes that are this dark, that are the same color as your armor. It's that very dark gray, dark blue, and one of them just says,
"Welcome again. So nice to see you. Sit.
And he motions over towards a very, very large tome with a raven feather on top of it, in this around with these other sitting pillows and other individuals that are currently reading.
I have so many questions.
About what?
Everything. What's going on with myself? These memories.
Memories? I've had those before. I've had future memories, past memories, current memories. I've had them all here at the temple. Perhaps I could be of service. You can call me Brother Moonbow is fine. What? You look troubled, young one. Let's start with any question you like. And if I don't know the answer, perhaps Ami will know the answer.
And he just turns and he asks, "What am I?"
You're one of the chosen sleepers. Elves are creatures of the sun, are they not? Well, suns create shadows, but it's still there, even in darkness, hanging above us in the form of the moon, in the form of the goddess herself. And she blesses us with dreams. You simply need to sleep. Sometimes an elf falls asleep and they see visions. They get scared, confused. You seek out someone like us. We can help. Let them know what their visions mean.
Yeah. Caelum nods his head and turns back to the book. Just starts slowly reaching out for it.
And that's it.
Before... Oh.
Yeah, as you do, you see the feather kind of lift up again, but this time the book just opens and there's no explosion. There's no explosion of flavor that comes like bursting out at you.
Book flavor.
Yeah, book flavor. There's no feathers or anything, and you see the start of this book, and it looks ancient. It does not look like something that has been around, or that hasn't been around for very long. This thing does look like it is just kind of falling apart. But it's weird because when you're looking at the side of it, you can see that the pages are old and yellowed. But as it gets towards the back of the binding, you actually see that there are newer, fresher pages, and the end binding of the book actually looks newer than the front cover of the book itself, even though it is all one large piece of leather. And you look at the text, and it looks like Elvish, but you aren't necessarily sure, because even though you would normally be able to read Elven, this isn't something that is coming natural to you. This looks like it is a combination of letters, a combination of words. There are symbols that don't make sense. There are strokes that don't belong. And it takes you most of your meditation, just trying to push yourself through whatever it is. But you are making some headway into this book. So I would like for you to roll a religion check.
$19.
So with your 19, you are able to get the first segment of this book. It's not a huge amount, but you make your way through what looks to be like half a line on top, but it comes out as a much larger thing. It looks like there is almost a cipher at work here that's kind of keeping everything very tight knit. And looking at it, you can see, or from what you read, it says that in the beginning there were 9 spheres, and that's about all that you can get out of it.
Brother, someone once told me that dreams are all in your head, so how do I know this is all real?
How do you know? Are they? Are they all in your head? If a wizard dreams up a new spell and then performs that spell into the world, is that a dream or is that reality?
Just a giant loss for words.
And that's kind of how you come to in the morning, is having this like very, very weird existential waking dream as you wake up 8 hours later. And Gwen, you are just like firmly awake. There is no sleepy time happening on your watch, Buster Brown. Like,
Gwen, you're choking me.
Oh, sorry. Did you sleep all right?
No. I think sleeping was worse than meditating.
Well, I made sure there were 0 gems that came out of your body this time.
Things I never thought I'd hear someone say to me.
You ready for some breakfast? Because I could use some goddamn coffee.
Okay.
all right.
Want to get changed? Because you're still in that bed sheet.
I mean, if it makes you uncomfortable.
I mean, I don't want you catching a cold.
Nah. All right, but you're coming with me.
All right, so this is when we are going to then cycle back to Cori. Cori, you have just put Blake down for nap time, for the big sleep, and you see that Gwen kind of like gives you the thumbs up, like she's gonna watch over Caelum tonight, and they head into Caelum's room, and you were just standing in this hallway. It is very late. It is very dark outside, and you can see that there is a little bit of this glow kind of coming into the room.
Coming from the what room?
From there's not like a glow coming into the room, but it's sorry, that was a poor choice of phrase. The window that's kind of been busted out by Caelum jumping through it at the end of the hallway actually has moonbeams coming through it. So the hallway itself is illuminated.
Atmospheric.
Yes.
I like it.
A little
All
bit
right.
of dust particles kind of floating in the air.
Well, Cori will go get her stuff, and then she'll go downstairs and sit in the tavern like she always does.
Okay.
And she's going to get out her lantern and see if, against all odds, that thing managed to record the song.
So make an insight check.
All right, that is... Stand by. An 11 plus 0, so an 11.
So you would know that using that trying to obtain an intangible thing from an intangible place with a material thing on the material plane doesn't correspond at all. And so when you go to open up and play this mechanical bird, you just get the same song that it's always been from your dad.
She'll just kind of sigh and put it back on the table. And she's going to trance.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
I imagine it works differently in the Feywild.
Little bit. Less rules. Just a few less rules.
If it makes, metaphorical sense, then yeah, sure. But it's a little more concrete here on the natural plane.
This is fair. So, you go into your trance. And what are you trying to focus on?
I don't think she's necessarily trying to focus on anything. I think that her trance tonight is really more of a have to trance.
Yeah. Okay, so as you enter into your trance state and you are very focused on having this just be more of like when you spend all day in a crowded place and kind of need to be alone. Like this is very much a decompression from the day, and you just start feeling a little bit more relieved. And as you continue meditating, in front of you, you actually see colors start to begin to take shape into what looks to be various foliages, and you actually start to see in your meditation what looks to be a very pristine glen. There are cherry blossoms that breeze by on a calm wind, and their pink petals pass your peripherals as you take the scene around you. Your vision directs you kind of forward and deeper into this glen, and your ears are filled with the musical breathing of the Feywild. And as you kind of just take in the Isle of Spring, you start hearing what sounds like a very quick, flighty flute that seems to be playing notes very quickly, very abruptly. You can make an insight check if you would like.
14.
So you're 14. You would know that the flautist would have to attempt to sound very very nervous or scared in order to get this proper whistling done. And as you go and kind of step into this glen, you can actually see that there is a small patch of flowers in front of you. And in that small patch of flowers, you can see that there are what looks to be 3 dark green creatures that look like they are made almost entirely out of a garden weed. And then there is a small blooming rose whose stem comes down and kind of comes off into 2 little feet and what looks to be 2 little arms, and it's using a very long thorn to kind of like fight back against these weeds that are trying to accost it. And it seems to be the one that it is emoting this very quick flute sound.
Do I get the feeling this is a memory, or am I actually here?
You are uncertain. You have not, based on Caelum's meditations, you're pretty sure that the Shadarkai, whatever it is going on with him, is not happening to you.
All right. Am I like? I guess the question I'm trying to ask here is: am I just like a passenger in this situation, or do I feel like I have agency?
You feel like you have agency. You feel like you can move.
Well, then by all means.
Yep.
What ho? Sword out. Rescue that little rose thing.
Okay. So make an attack roll as you go up to slash out at these weeds.
Natural 1.
Okay. So yeah, as you go over and you kind of trudge through the flowers, you go to make an attack against one of these tiny little weeds, and as your sword connects, you actually see this weed creature wrap around the blade of your sword, and it brings tiny little roots in, and you actually start seeing that there is a small amount of decay forming on your blade. From this small weed trying to dig in with its roots, and then you see another one of them just like claw out at this small rose creature, and it comes into contact with its arm, and you see its arm go limp as it continues to try and fight off these weeds. And you see that it actually spears one through its central mass, and that little weed dies as this tiny rose, who is emanating this quick-paced flute music, is trying very hard to fight back.
It stands to reason that if I'm in the spring section of the Feywild, I would be in my spring form.
Yep.
All right. Well, then that's very convenient for me. Can I reach out and grab the little rose creature and then Fey step with it away?
Yeah. You would definitely be able to do that.
I do that. Poof.
Okay, so you have now the little weed creature that's on your weapon, the other one that you brought, and then there's the rose creature that's standing by itself.
Oh no, I'm taking the rose creature with me to get away from them.
Okay, so you pop over and get away, and as you pop over, it just waves its sword, its little thorny sword back over at the weeds. Make a perception check.
Let's see. Pretty sure that's going to be a 16?
Okay.
Yes, 16.
So you see from behind these three little weed creatures that are making their way forward, that there is a small patch of roses that were growing out of the ground that seem to have just been wilted and brought down. There's still a little bit of color left in them, but they do not seem to be doing very well.
Oh, shoot. Back into the fray, then.
Okay.
I'll leave little rose creature here, and then go after the weed guys.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
Nat 20 this time.
Okay, so with your nat 20, you actually slice through all three of these little weed creatures that just sort of seem to just dissipate into plant matter and then into dust, and then they turn into cherry blossom leaves and sail away. And you see that this little roseling runs up over to the other patch of roses, and he starts like trying to push at one of them, and he looks at you, and the whistling continues, and he just like motions for you with his hands.
All right. Lay on hands for this rose bush, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, Wings is very confused in this situation,
Good.
but like this is all normal for Cori.
Oh yeah.
She's like, yes, of course, save the flowers.
So yeah, you lay on hands the roses, and as you do, you see that all of these roses actually fill back up with this vibrant red color. And you look up in front of you, and you see in the ground more roses starting to bloom. And they start to form into shapes. It looks like they are actually spelling something out. And it takes about a minute, and after you see what they have spelled out, it says, through your acts of mercy, kindness and forgiveness, kindle the light of hope in the world, beating back despair. Oh. And you then have like this kind of overwhelming flash of light, and you are now somewhere else. You are no longer in this place. But the last thing you saw was the little roseling kind of waving at you as you dissipated. And you are now walking down. You are now walking down this long road, and as you hear in front of you, you hear the sound of a lute being played. And this is a song that sounds so familiar, but you cannot put your foot on where you have heard this song before. And as you continue on this road, you actually see parked on the side a small caravan with what looks to be a wood elf male his wife who has very nice long brown hair, and a little girl, and they invite you to dine with them, as the man just continues playing, and the little girl seems no older than 10. And they begin to play, and the music kind of picks up, and as it does, you see that there are fireflies as the night progresses on that kind of gather around you, and they all start floating in the air with you as you continue just clapping along, listening to the music. And the wife's pulled out a tambourine and she's playing as well. And the little girl actually reaches down her hands to dance with you.
She dances with the girl.
Okay. And you hear there is a loud crescendo happening as you have just gotten lost in this lute player's solo. And as it comes to an end, he just just plays it super quick, rides it up, and then with one stroke he's done. And you, like, the wife starts clapping and laughing, and the daughter's laughing and clapping as well. Make a perception check.
19.
So with the 19, you see moments before this large hulking figure actually leap out of the brush, and you see what looks to be a werewolf of sorts actually like digging his teeth into the arm of that wood elf as he just cries out in pain. What are you going to do? And the wife is just has no idea what to do. The daughter is running to the mom, screaming out.
Sword out, attack the werewolf.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Okay, this is a good roll. Hold on. Piece of crap. I know what I'm doing. 22.
Okay, so you're 22. You hit it, and with your sword, looking at your blade, it actually glows silver instead of the traditional metal, and it sinks into this werewolf as it lets out a mighty yelp and rushes off, seemingly no longer wanting to deal with this moment of combat. And that is when the wood elf, and you hear his voice for what almost seems like the first time, and he looks at you and just, please, I need you to cut off my arm before the sickness spreads.
Okay. She steels herself and does it.
Okay.
She makes it quick. She tries to she does it before she has any chance to decide not to.
Okay.
And then
yeah. So make an attack roll. Advantage because he's prone.
Advantage because he's prone. Good for me. Come here, you. All right, that's a 14. No, it's not. That's a 16.
Okay. Yeah. So with your 16, it, as much as it doesn't feel right, you bring your sword down and you sever the arm. Very, very much just at the shoulder, and he lets loose a cry of pain, just this deep howling pain, as his wife comes over and puts her hands onto the stump, and you see that there is energy actually coming from her hands that heals over the stump, and he has sweat dripping from his face. And you see the little girl actually come over with a trumpet, and she hands it to her father. And he takes the trumpet in his one hand and sets it up, and he begins to play, just blowing from this trumpet. And as he does, you see that the fireflies begin to dance once more, this time forming into what looks like once more letters. And these letters spell out, "Shelter the light. Where there is good, beauty, love, and laughter in the world, stand against the wickedness that would swallow it. where life flourishes stand against the forces that would render it barren. And as this trumpet begins to play, you feel that kind of wave of emotion wash over you once again, as you see this girl just kind of like waving at you as you pass on. And you are now standing in a wooded grove. There are leaves falling from the trees. It seems heavily orange in nature. And in front of you, you can hear bickering. And
Who's bickering?
you go to approach. Make a perception check.
Right. Oh. 4.
All right. So with a 4, you see what looks to be a heavily armored gentleman leaning up against a tree. And you hear a voice, "There's no real reason to be like that. I don't understand why you're being absolutely, just completely unable to be worked with. I don't get it." And as you continue pressing forward, you take note that this suit of armor is actually missing its head. And on the other side of the tree has been set up just this head that is looking off on its own.
Oh.
Just, if you could please pick me up, then maybe we could solve this a hell of a lot Oh, hello.
Hello.
If you could... Look, he's not going to pick me up. Maybe you could. And then you see that this headless body of armor just kind of like hands on its hips, chest big up and then outward, just crosses its arms again and turns its back to the head.
I'm sorry, do you two know each other?
Why, yes, that would be my body. I would like... Look, we had a little bit of a disagreement of sorts.
All right.
I am an actor.
Oh my.
Yes. And in my life, I performed a series of serious plays, all of which left the audiences sheerly weeping. However, since we have passed on, my body wants to do something more along the lines of physical comedy. And you see that this armor just like kind of jazz hands a little bit. You can hear like the clanking. And the head just...
Oh.
I don't understand why he won't just submit. We can do serious plays like we were. He can hold my head and I can recite famous lines back to my own body. The crowd would go wild.
Well, it seems like the two of you are very talented on your own, but what if you were to combine your talents?
And you see, like, the suit of armor that had its hands on its hips now just, like, kind of brings them down, and then winds up an arm and then brings it to where the head slot would be in a listening position. And the head just... I don't ever understand what you would mean. How would we combine our talents?
Well, there's something called... Did you ever hear about a straight man?
No, I can't say that I have.
Having a more serious person involved in a comedy act makes the comedy more funny. And on the other hand, if you don't want to do comedy all the time, having a little bit of comedy in a serious play will provide enough levity in a situation to make the more serious moments and the more emotional moments more impactful.
Well, that just sounds like pure hogwash to me. And as the head says that, you see that the suit of armor puts its hands on its hips and straightens its legs, and just like, if it could be giving a daggerful stare at its own head, it would be. It's just whenever I feel like I'm being the serious one in a funny play, everyone's laughing at me and not with me. And I know that whenever anyone comes in with a silly character in a serious piece, the first thing people decry is how they hated the silly character, even if it was for the betterment of things.
Well, there's got to be some sacrifice in these situations, but it's really underappreciated. Listen, there's got to be some compromise here. Obviously, neither one of you are willing to budge, so you've got to meet in the middle.
Well, what's something we could meet in the middle on? We're artists, you know.
You're seriously thinking about this? I mean, this is more of a personal situation, but I like to adventure, and honestly, I think it's a better gig.
Adventuring, you say?
Yeah. Well, see, you've got to have, like, charisma in order to walk your way out of some situations, but there are other situations where you have to fight your way out. And I can see both of you being able to contribute in that way a lot better.
Good heavens, no, I am not a fighter. It would be highly, highly irregular to carry a head around instead of a shield. As we would have to make do with only one weapon or item in a hand at a time, as I have to be carried. But
I mean,
feel like you were onto something earlier. What if, mind you, now come pick me up. You there, body. Body just, it's like, you see its shoulders roll in a way that it's dissatisfied, and then he comes back over and he picks the head up and keeps it centered and just, perhaps we could work on a serious comedy.
A serious comedy?
A serious comedy. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe some mistaken identity could be at play. Maybe, what if there was a man who inherited a mad doctor's castle, and inside there was a head in a jar that could control a dancing body?
Oh my.
Could this work?
I'm very interested in this.
I'm interested in as well. Body. Just body kind of like curls down a little bit, like it would be looking at its own head. Think we have found our avenue. Thank you. What was your name?
Oh, you can call me Cori.
All right, Cori. Thank you very much. And and they begin to turn and walk away. And as they are walking away in your view, they are walking through what looks to be an orchard of, or not an orchard, but just a grove of paper birch trees. And as they are walking, the bark actually starts to peel off from the trees themselves, revealing what looks to be a darker textured wood underneath. And it is in that wood that you see another phrase spelt out for you. And it says, "Preserve your own light. Delight in song and laughter, in beauty and art. If you allow the light to die in your own heart, you can't preserve it in the world." And that is when you hear the rushing sounds of harsh winds, and the temperature drops significantly. And as your field of vision gets wrapped white again, you are now standing in a snowfield. And you can see roughly 150 feet in front of you, there's a road with wagon tracks leading down to the left. And in this wagon, you can see that there are several tents set up, as well as what looks to be a small fight is happening amongst these caravan dwellers. And as you get closer, you can see that there is around the small fire, across the way, there is a bundled up form. I don't know, I'd like for you to make a perception check.
17.
Okay, so with your 17, you see that there is a large black scaled tail that wraps around this body that is this form that is sort of huddled up next to the fire, and they sort of seem to be gently rocking back and forth.
Huh.
As you get closer, you hear the words, "I couldn't save her. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. There was nothing I could do." And you look forward and you actually see that it is Blake. And Blake is just sort of inconsolable, just sort of muttering to himself, saying that there was nothing he could do.
Blake? Are you okay? What happened?
And he doesn't seem to be taking stock of you. You've seen him shut down before, but you've never seen him shut down this hard.
I'm gonna try and put a hand on him.
And he just looks up at you with his glowing yellow eyes. Just, "I'm sorry, have we met?"
It's me, Coriander.
If you're joking, I'd like you to stop. Make another perception check.
12.
So with your 12, you hear the raised voices of what sounds like Caelum and Gwen arguing.
Please. Okay. I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm gonna go. I'll be right back, and I'm gonna go run and see what Gwen and Caelum are doing now.
Okay. So yeah, you go over to these two, and it is Gwen seeming up, like yelling into Caelum's chest. Just, "You need to go over there and you need to talk some sense into him because he's not listening to me." And Caelum just says, "There's nothing that we can do about this. He just needs to work through it." And that's when Gwen actually pushes Caelum. And you see Caelum fall down onto his rump in the snow, and his bun kind of comes out from his hair, and his long hair just sort of brushes to the front. And as he looks back at Gwen says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." And Caelum says, "Don't touch me." And you see him flash away in a burst of feathers, and then he is walking away. And as he is walking away through the snow, this shadowed form around him, you see a familiar half-orc innkeeper actually come up, and he's like, and it's none other than Fang Zest. And he goes to try and stand in front of Caelum to possibly rear him away. And as he does, just, "Hey, Caelum, maybe you're taking this a little," you hear a word, a singular word that seems to echo through this valley, that seems to resonate with Fang on a much deeper level than you are possibly prepared for. And that one word is "move." And Caelum points his hand to the side. And Fang, you see his body ridge up, and he just steps over to the side as Caelum continues furiously walking by. And Gwen, you look at your own hands, and then you walk away as well, seeming to go back to either talk with Blake or talk with somebody. And Fang just kind of like shakes his head a little bit back and forth and sees you and just...
Hey, welcome to camp. Haven't seen you out here.
On? Why is everyone acting like this? What happened?
Well, one of their friends, didn't really make it.
Who?
Her name was Coriander.
And that's where we're going to go to our first break of the evening.
Indoor.
Yeah.
Indoor.
What the
fuck?
All right, so thank you everybody who has decided to come by and watch me mentally scar my players. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so make sure to grab a drink, grab some food, pull a friend along, and we shall enjoy this fun adventure for friends. For friends.
We're friends.
All right, everybody. We will see you soon. Alrighty. Bye.
Oh no.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back from our wonderful break with all these wonderful people still here. Before we get back into the game, I would just like to make a mild announcement for everybody paying attention, which is if you are subscribed on Twitch, you guys can actually join the Discord server for this game and for the rest of the Indoor Adventurers League. So you want to go to your channel, check out your settings, your Twitch integrations, and then you can just hit join on the server, and then you can berate me in my own chat about what I'm doing to my players, and I'll love you for it because I like interacting with all of you wonderful people in the best way that I can, which is by talking a lot, which I've already been doing, but you guys were kind of left off in a sour patch, kids. You have all kind of shown Cori what kind of happened in the situation where you guys are alone in a tundra and she is no longer there, and you, Cori, aren't very sure as to what actually is happening. In terms of Fang coming up to you and telling you that the party member that they lost was an adventurer named Coriander.
She, well, snow is pretty deceiving a lot of the time. She was going forward, blazing a trail for the rest of us, and there was a crevasse. She fell. It was a little bit farther than we could go to save her, and she didn't have her phase step ability because we had gotten into some combat earlier. But she fell.
No, this doesn't make any sense. I'm Coriander. I'm here. I'm fine.
No.
Fang, look at me. And, she, reaches out and actually, grabs him. Look, I'm fine. Look, it's me.
I don't
She
know
plucks a leaf off of her clothes and, holds it up to him. Hey, I'm Coriander.
I don't know what you're trying to play, lady, but I don't want any of your coin if you keep calling yourself the name of my friend. I will have to ask you to leave. We're kind of in a sore spot right now.
I don't understand.
Look, can I offer you just a bowl of food, water or something?
I don't need food. I don't need water. I'm Cori.
He just gets a very dour look on his face as you say that. And make a perception check.
Okay. 4.
Okay. Yeah, so you just kind of keep following him until you see Fang come, you kind of keep following him and berating him, saying I'm Cori, I'm me, until eventually he hands you a bowl of water. Just says,
"You've probably been out here a while, probably delirious. You look. I know that I just met you, but could I get your help?"
What do you need?
I'm gonna need help building the pyre for the body. We're not gonna bury her, not out here. It's just asking for something to eat her.
Okay.
and you look down into this bowl of water, and you see your reflection, and it is what looks to be a sandy blonde-haired half-elf. You do not see your own reflection looking up in the mirror.
I don't recognize this person at all.
No.
Oh.
Would you mind? You can have some food if you want, and we're probably gonna get started here in 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. All right.
He's just gonna like stand there for a second and just be like really surprised.
Yeah, and you see Fang starts bringing out all these larger pieces of wood. Lets you know that they cut them down several days ago, and have been kind of carrying Cori with them ever since she fell and they recovered her. And eventually you and he set up this kind of funeral pyre until Fang leaves once again, with you kind of standing at the base of this pyre, and he comes back with a burlap sack that's about the size of an Eladrin elf, kind of slumped over his shoulder, and he brings it over and sets it on top of a pyre.
Look, I know that I don't really know you that well, but you've been very helpful with this. I'm gonna go and get the others. And they don't really seem like they're much for speaking to each other right now, so would you mind saying something to kind of get this started?
Okay.
Just once I get everybody back, you can think about it.
Fang leaves you once again, but now you are standing at the pyre with what looks to be a shape long enough to be your own personage, with your orange Eladrin shield kind of propped up onto the body, as well as what looks to be this your typical sword laid at its side as well.
Okay. You can't hear that, can you?
Nope.
My cat is screaming from the other room.
Amazing.
Okay. Well, not Coriander is gonna just kind of look down at her hands for a second and then look around at the rest of the group. And like, is everybody still kind of pouting and glowering? Or
Yeah, they don't seem to be standing together, and Blake very much just has his head kind of downcast, and he just has his hands very, very close, holding himself very tightly. And you can see that Caelum has spaced him on the other side of Blake from where Gwen is, and he just is standing very staunch, very rigidly, his spear in the ground. And you can see that Gwen is just kind of looking a little bit abashedly, trying not to make eye contact with Caelum. And Fang just rubs his bald head.
Would you mind saying the first word?
As he goes over and he sets a torch underneath the wood pyre as it begins to catch behind you.
Sure. I know you don't know me, and I haven't been with you for long. But if I did know Coriander, and I know that she would want you all to hear this. Cori never wanted people around her to be sad. She always did everything she could to help people. And I know that if she were here, she wouldn't want you all to fight. And that seeing you all fight would make her very sad. I'm sure she'll miss you all very much.
And as you say that, the light behind you begins to burn brighter and brighter and brighter. And looking down, you see your own shadow playing in front of you. And as the flames flicker, you see that other shadows begin to move and other shadows begin to form as well. And eventually those shadows spell out a phrase, much as your other visions have also kind of given you a phrase. And you see in these shadows the phrase, "Be a glorious beacon for all who live in despair. Let the light of your joy and courage shine forth in all your deeds. Be the light." And with a large wave of heat from behind you, you feel your vision once again turn to white as you read this wordage on the ground. And it feels searing, this heat that passes over you from where you were in this cold environment to now having been washed over with warmth. You have to close your eyes in order to kind of just bear through what's happening with you, till eventually you can kind of feel the temperature normalize, and it sounds like there is a body of moving water near you, and the temperature kind of calms out. And when you open your eyes again, you see that you are in a forest. You're on a small forested path, and to the right there is a creek that just sort of lazily runs by, and there is a wooden bench, and on it you can see what looks to be a small white linen bundle, and eventually a man kind of walks up from the road, and you can see that this man has long blonde hair, a headband kind of keeping it out of his eyes, and he walks over to sit at this wooden bench. And as he sits down, he looks over at you and he says, "Finally made it. Come." And he starts patting the seat, and as soon as he opens his voice, you know who is speaking to you. You know that this is your deity, Corellon.
Oh, shoot. First of all, I'm going to check and make sure, orange, right?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yes? Okay. Oh. Call. Okay. She sits down.
Well, I was afraid that you weren't going to make it in time. I'm sure that you have lots of questions. And as he says that, he opens up this white linen bundle that he has. And as he does, you can see that there is what looks to be a large loaf of freshly baked bread. And he just sort of plucks off some of the top of this loaf. And as he does, you start hearing, and you look over, and there are some ducks that kind of swim down this creek and then eventually come to the still water pool that is in front of you. And you see Corellon just toss some bread into the water as the ducks begin to nibble at it. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. And as you take your breath of this bread, it smells less like a flavor and more of like a feeling. Like this is very much a wave of nostalgia kind of washes over you to your time as a kid before you really understood any of the pain or the suffering of this world. This bread just sort of fills your nose with that fresh scent. There. Perfect company, don't you think? He just continues tossing bread towards these ducks.
Yes. Yes. She's just kind of like sitting really stiffly on the bench, like trying to figure out, like, is this a metaphor for something? Am I supposed to, who are the ducks? Who is the bread?
Oh, here, would you like some? He offers you some bread. I really like to just, toss it at them. They get to eat it. I mean, can you think of a better way to enjoy bread than not only getting to enjoy the sight of watching ducks eat, but to also enjoy fresh bread in the way a duck does? Just throws bread into the water.
You mean out of a scummy pond?
No, it's the eagerness. It's the feeling. It's not the taste. The taste means nothing. It could taste like garbage, but if you remember it tasting wonderful, then it's always going to taste wonderful to you. Just continues tossing bread.
He's gonna quizzically look at a piece of bread and then like pop it really quickly into her mouth.
And it is it is honey sweet. It is not a white loaf of bread. It is actually more of that honeyed rye, but it doesn't have a sharp texture to it. It doesn't have a sharp taste, because as you take a bite, it tastes like the first cookie that your dad ever baked you. It tastes like the first successful moment of combat that you ever had in the training grounds. It tastes like the joy of being accepted as a Caelum, or at least a future one, and those feelings just sort of wash over you all in an instant.
Why would you ever eat anything else?
To explore, to find out more about the world.
I suppose.
There's lots of reasons to eat lots of different food and experience lots of different things.
Oh, for that matter, it's not very good for you.
No. But that's the joy in it, though, isn't it? And he just pops some bread into his mouth as well, and then just continues tossing more into the pond. So, and he just sort of like, he's not really looking at you so much as he is just sort of tossing the bread idly into the pond. Like the proud father of all of my children that I am, I have watched you with great joy, Coriander. And even when you have been met with hardship, you have stayed true to the tenets of my order. I have felt dedication not such as yours since the last time I wandered the realm of the prime material. Yours is a path that will not be easy, Coriander, but know this: behind your sword shall be my strength, and behind my light shall be your flame burning ever brighter. But I am afraid to mention that, well, we're now all out of bread. And he just sort of holds up this empty linen container. So I really must be going. And he just stands up and begins walking away. And as he does, he gets to the edge of your vision. He just sort of laughs to himself. Just, you know, the Caelums used to call me Cori once too. And that's when you wake up.
All right, as soon as she wakes up, she's just gonna be like, fucking ducks. I hope they get fat.
So yeah, you are up several hours before your friends are, and you are down in the bottom floor of the Zesty Anchor. There's a fresh glass of water next to you that kind of like jostles a little bit and just kind of it spills a little bit onto the table. But other than that, yeah, you are currently by yourself at around 4 a.m. in the main room of the Zesty Anchor.
Amazing. All right, I'll down that whole glass of water. I got my full 4 hours,
yeah,
right?
You got your full 4-hour meditation.
Great. Okay. Cori will keep watch, quote unquote, in the tavern for the rest of the night. Like nothing happened.
Yep, and then that is when you wait another 4 hours, and that's when a yawning Caelum, still with a no longer backpacked Gwen, but still in Gwen's company, finally come down, as Caelum seems to have really pressured Gwen to actually finally put on some clothes.
He's like tying his hair into a ponytail. He's walking down the stairs. Good
Coffee.
morning. Yeah, that too.
See, I told you he's not going anywhere.
And Gwen looks fucking tired.
Gwen, did you sleep at all?
Nope, stayed up all night making
What?
sure he was okay.
You still need to sleep. Gwen!
Nope, sleeps for the week.
Just down that coffee. So I don't need to sleep. You can do so much more things if you don't sleep.
Right? I have so much more time in the day. I've scared my dog. Sorry.
And it is at that slam, Blake, that you actually, like, you wake up groggy as hell in your room as you just hear Gwen tiredly yelling, I don't need sleep! Sleep's for the weak! Like, from through the floorboards as it just sort of enters into your room.
Damn, at me next time. I'm present.
Yep.
How's my room
But you
looking?
are laying in your bed, and you can see that there is a smeared, half messily made chalk circle on the ground that looked like you something was dragged off of it towards your bed.
Fuck it, Smith. No. Try to remember.
Okay. Make a history check with disadvantage because you were drunk at the time. Yeah, last thing that you
3.
like before you shut it out completely was you remember being kind of drunk, talking with Ven, and then getting startled by something. And then you had a memory of like wandering through the streets and then seeing your friends all in a group hug, and that was kind of like the last things that you remembered.
Oh. Oh shit. Alright, I go downstairs.
Yep. And then you guys finally see Blake just shambling down the stairs to the main seating area in the Zesty Anchor, where you guys are currently the only morning rush once again. And yeah, the rest of you three look over at Blake, and you just see that Blake is looking just super bedraggled. But other than that, he seems fine.
Morning, Blake. Saved you some coffee.
Great. Absolutely great.
Yeah, and then I'm
I'm
assuming
gonna take out the chalice
Yeah.
and just do my morning bloodletting.
Yeah, you guys just see him just
Yeah,
slice his
the
hand.
table, man? No,
Yeah,
no.
at the table.
You do that in your room, dude.
As I'm already bleeding.
Yeah, you're already just bleeding into it. What'd you get? Ooh, that's an average roll. That is a 10 for you podcast listeners.
Hey, if you ever need to, it's there.
So yeah, this is the first time that the rest of you have actually seen this as well. But as the blood goes into the chalice, you actually start seeing the patterns on the green red stones that kind of circle around the outside of the chalice begin to all sort of shift and shape at once until eventually they come to a very specific pattern.
Magic's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How was last night?
We cuddled.
Aw.
All night.
Who else craves bread?
Red would be fantastic.
Okay.
I see if Huddle will make some bread.
Yeah. Huddle is still not in, as he is not the night chef. It is Swift as the 10 wins. But he's just like, what kind of bread would you like, nya? Little wheat, nya? Rye, nya?
I don't know, do you have like something with honey in it?
We do have a honey oat, nya.
Oh, that sounds nice. Let's do that.
he comes back with just this large bread loaf, and as well as a small container of butter, and he just kind of sets that next to you guys. And just, I'm going to assume that Fang is covering this, yeah?
Nah, we got it. We can pay for bread.
All right. 5 silver pieces, yeah.
I'll
I
pay
put
it.
down a gold.
Nope. No, you don't.
I
Shove
put
that.
down a gold and then I pull it back and I put it in my pocket.
I put down a gold
Ah!
aggressively.
We do is jockey for the bill.
Yep. And then eat literally half of that loaf. Like, just like slice it down the middle and then like pick it up and eat the other half of the loaf. And she's just got like, you know, like one mouth full, like one cheek full of bread. And she's just like, I don't know why. I just feel really happy to be alive today. Come here. I need a hug. She like reaches over and gets Gwen and Caelum at the same time.
You want in on this big guy?
I think I'm fine.
He gets a side hug.
Like, just super quick.
Gwen, what was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Last night.
Yes.
Last night, the thing that you came up with. What are we? 4 of us. We're four knights.
The 4 keeps. 4
That's right.
keeps. 4
right.
keeps.
We're 4 keeps because I'm keeping you guys, keeping all of you. Ah.
Is Cori drunk?
Maybe.
Is Cori drunk?
Is Cori drunk?
You guys look around and you don't see that there's any alcohol that's on Cori's table. There's a few that are like kind of like spilled mugs. There's like a half drank bottle that somebody seems to have left behind. That's Swift.
Oh, Cori.
All right, I'm gonna need you guys to go real slow and explain again what happened last night with the glass baby thing that you guys made.
What?
They made a glass baby. They did the whole elf tango.
Don't you
and-
even start with me. You were talking about killing an angel last night.
You killed an angel?
Make a history check with disadvantage.
I am so confused.
History?
It's going to be history with disadvantage because you're trying to.
Oh shit.
Yep, you're trying to remember. This is what happens
Okay,
when
well,
you're like,
I'm using a 10. No, I'm not. Sorry.
Use your port just for this moment.
No. Okay, that's a 5.
You don't know what she's talking about. That sounds neat, though. I mean, as neat as killing an angel could be.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
What did you drink last night, man?
A lot.
It's less about what and more about how much.
I mean,
Regardless.
I was talking with a Dragonborn gentleman.
Oh, well, actually, that makes sense.
Oh, you made a friend? I made a friend last night, too.
It wasn't me.
Oh. Oh. No.
No?
No. Just talking, I
Oh.
think.
Well,
I
that sounds
think-
boring.
Yeah, I don't remember
So
much
you
of the
might
night.
have made a new friend.
Maybe.
Nice. Is there anything different about him physically? I wouldn't notice, but
Is he glowing at 10 equals?
it's glowing.
Well, he does have glowing eyes, so yes, technically Blake is glowing.
Like all the time, or just
Yeah.
this is new.
No, like the glowing eyes has been a pretty persistent thing on this
Cool,
guy.
cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, you don't notice too much. You see like his hood is still up. Like,
Oh, did I poke new holes in it?
I thought you did, or did you not?
You
I
needed
don't
some
think we ever
straps.
were able to.
Yeah. So yeah, he like just hood back down. If anything, this is one of the first times that you've been able to get like a really solid look at the head of this black dragonborn outside of the bathhouse, where you were more focused on not drowning, more so than you were looking at Blake's head.
Fair enough. So what are we doing today?
I've got a thing to do later on.
What?
Right.
What?
I gotta, gonna go fight my mentor.
Like
good
for
plan.
fun? Oh, cool. Do you want to spar right now? Because I need to get punched because I need to fucking wake up, man.
Gwen, if you want to be punched, all you have to do is ask.
All right, but I want Blake to do it.
What?
Blake, hit me in the face.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, physically, you're the toughest one of us, so yeah.
Excuse me.
Besides, I'm just
No.
saying. Dragon
You know, I don't really have a say in this vote, so I'm gonna agree.
I mean, all right.
Do it. And she kind of like gets up on the chair and gets ready.
Unarmed strike is going to be an 11.
Doesn't even, like, he's still like
Like,
groggy, waking up from being kind of blackout, so he does one of those like gentle like knuckle brushes against the face.
Smoosh.
Okay.
You just feel his black dragon scales just coolly pressing against your face.
Well, now I'm just itchy, so... Sweet. Okay, let's do something quick before I fall asleep.
All right, fine.
Is there a place to brawl around here? I mean, it's kind of early, but I want to get in a fight. I need to wake up.
So
Unless someone wants to spar.
I mean, I guess use a little bit of practice.
Really?
Sure, okay, fine.
Yes!
okay, so you guys are just sparring in the middle of the Zesty Anchor.
Yes, undestructively.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like throw bar stools at him. I'm gonna like push things out of the way so there is an open area.
And Swift just sort of peeks his head out of the back curtain, just, what do you think you're doing, yeah?
I need to wake up and I need to spar. I promise I won't break anything.
Please don't spar in the barn, yeah.
Do you want to spar with me?
I don't think you could handle me in a fight.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just
Oh.
kind of sinks back into the kitchen.
Oh. All right. Well, maybe we can go to that place where you were gonna fight that dude.
I think.
Oh, is the dwarf dude gonna be there too?
Yeah, Mug is always with the party.
All right. Yes, that's fine.
So yeah, you guys would also know that in order to get to the top gate by noon, you guys have to be heading out relatively soon, as light has already started to get pretty high overhead. So you start going about your way, and during that time, you actually meet up with Prescott and Mugwort. As they are going with you, and Prescott just kind of stays silent most of the time, kind of standing towards the back. But Mugwort is very excited. Just he first like comes up to you, Gwen, and he's just like, all right, so when I was saying last night that I was going to tell the boys about this, I was more telling that, like us fighting and like punching each other. I was really not trying to step on any toes. I just wanted to, you know what, I'm probably saying too much. Caelum! How's it going, Caelum? And he's just like,
I was just like, oh my god.
and he walks over and just, so did you get a good night's rest last night?
Yeah.
Think you are ready to fight against Farron? He's already at the top. He has been waiting most of the morning.
He's kind of just realizing what's happening now. He's like, quickly turns to Gwen. like just kneels down. Gwen, I need you to slap me.
Okay.
No hesitation. Bam!
Yeah, but before I do it, I just go, "You got this, you son of a bitch!" Boom.
I didn't know my mother.
All right, make an attack roll.
Okay.
Can I just take it?
Yeah, you can take it, but this is more determining the strength of the slap.
Oh boy.
Oh, thank God it wasn't a natural 20. It was close.
Natural 20. Caleb's out like a light.
17.
So she slaps you across the face, and you can instantly feel your cheek just sort of starting to swell a little bit from the impact. And it, like, there is just like this red handprint on the side of your face, but you don't take. You'll actually just take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as this slap just sort of brings its 5 fingers up against you.
And I grab his face after I do it, and I like put my face right up to his and say, "You are a boss. You're gonna kick his ass. You got it?" And I kiss him on the nose, and then I walk.
That was strange.
Gwen is running on 0 sleep, okay? She's gonna act really weird all day.
And Prescott, like, walks next to you after that happened, just, and keeps going. All right, well, we're not much farther. Anything else that you need?
No, I'm fine.
All right. Well, he said that he had found a kind of grassy clearing he wanted to fight with you in. Come, let's go. I know the way. Yeah, I always know the way.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you guys actually walk out of the city of Shroudport, and after about a half mile, you see Sword planted in the ground, his back to the party, his arms kind of outstretched. He's wearing a chainmail shirt that comes down to about half of his forearm, and you can just see that the wind is actually just kind of like playing in his short brown hair. And he is just kind of standing there taking it all in. But as you guys approach, he turns around and you can see that he opens up his eyes and just, "I'm glad you finally made it. It smells much nicer out here, don't you think?"
Yeah. How long have you been out here, Farron?
Oh, couple hours probably.
You know, at this rate, I'm not surprised.
Well, it takes a little bit of training to get the winds under control, but, you know, start your day that way, and then next thing you know, you're doing fine.
Farron's human, right?
Yeah, he's a human.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
What, you were the one who offered this challenge. You wanted to spar, no holds back. Is that still on your plate? Your friends look a little worse for wear. Did you guys have a rough night of sorts last night?
Woo, Caleb! Yeah! Woo!
We're fine. Ish. We'll be fine.
All right, well, which would you
It's
prefer?
fine. I got bread.
Cori's just going to town on this giant loaf of bread. Just, I am the ducks. And just keeps eating.
Alright. Rules, regulations. What's barred, what's not.
Well, you are a divine caster, so magic on the table, or are we just using weapons?
Just weapons.
Weapon suits me just fine.
Teleport count.
Now, we are friends. I don't wish to I don't want to shed your blood on such a lovely day on such a nice field. Are we using practice swords, wooden weapons, or are we using our actual blades?
Wooden's good.
I agree.
Like, I guess he's flipping his spear the other way, so it's just like the butt end.
All right, well, suits me fine. And you see him kind of reach into his pack that he had set next to his sword that's planted in the ground. And he pulls out a wooden sword and then a wooden dagger. He kind of just like weighs them in his hands a little bit. These two should be fine. And he has his sword in his left hand and then his dagger in his right.
First to 3 then. Caelum just starts. No, wait a minute.
He just waves at Gwen and smiles. And Mugwort mumbles under his breath next to you. It's really not all that impressive. And just like kind of like gets a little more into himself, and you can hear Prescott snort as he says that. Just as Mugwort just seems to be very like just like. And Farron, his hair just sort of again blowing in the breeze, just says, "All right. Well, think we're going to need an arena, don't you?" He takes the hilt of his sword, and you see that there is a small, what looks to be like a jade set star in the hilt of his sword, and he plunges the sword a little bit further into the ground, and as it does, you actually feel the wind begin to pick up around you.
I'm in over my head.
And as it does, you see that it begins to form very lightly this ring around the two of you that is about 20 feet wide. And it just sort of seems to be steadily going, and you can see other leaves kind of blowing in the breeze as well. It says, "All right. If you really want to do this." And he sets his dagger so that way it's facing down in his right hand, and he has his short sword up. And he gets into a more readied stance against you. Says, "All right. Ready whenever you are."
Caelum drops into his stance and just says, "First to 3."
First to 3. All right. That is where Caelum and this guy are going to roll for initiative. I know that your all gut reaction is that I'm just going to end the episode, but don't worry.
It's actually way too early. 1, you fuck.
All right, so Farron is going to get a 26 on his initiative.
Woo! Damn!
I've got a 0.
Woo!
-1 dex.
You know, what a conundrum. Out of all of the numbers you could roll on a 1 through 20 dice, 0. It's insane.
Wow.
And so in what would almost feel like the blink of an eye, Farron is on you, and he is crouched down, bringing his short sword up with his left hand. And you feel that there is just this rush of wind that comes from behind him, as he is going to get a 25 to hit.
Hits.
And you feel the connection of his wooden sword, and he brings it up in this wide arc and then gently taps you on the side. And then he spins a little bit on the ground, and you can see that there is just this small twist of dirt as he comes by, and then hooks the back of your leg with his wooden dagger, and then gets a 24 to hit.
No, that hits.
So you already have 2 points on you, and he looks up at you and is actually going to back away using his bonus action to disengage. And he just pops back a little bit. And then takes a ready stance and goes, "All right, your turn." He just has this very calm, confident look on his face.
Come on, guys. Kick his ass!
They probably didn't even see like the 2 hits.
No,
It was just like 1 jumps back. Oh, I am so down.
You're the best!
Yeah, just 1 hit is all I need. And he just charges straight for Farron.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Spear is wait. 21.
Okay. So, as you go to just charge forward with your spear, you can kind of see him just like, he slouches his shoulders a little bit and his head kind of goes long as you just like running at him with this spear. And you see that he goes down with his left arm to actually bat away at the spear, like he has dozens of times in your guys' sparring session. And as he goes to bring it down, you pop your spear back and then thrust it right back into his shoulder. That's actually holding his wooden dagger, and it causes him to drop the dagger. And he just rolls his shoulder a little bit. Just very nice, very nice, Caelum. And he kind of like flexes his hand a little bit, and you see a slight wince of pain as you probably got him like right in the joint.
In the nerve socket.
Right in the nerve socket with the butt end of your spear. And he twists his arm a couple times and picks up his wooden dagger.
Takes a step back, raises shield. 1.
Well, see if you can get 2 more before this is done.
He's gonna roll a 10 for his first attack.
Oh shit!
Nice. Sorry.
I like it.
Yes!
So Blake, in your morning memory of looking into this blood pool, you actually had seen this very thing happen where Caelum was able to jut that spear butt right into what you weren't sure was anything. You were seeing it more from Caelum's angle. But then you saw a sword come down onto him, and he just sort of ducked, or he brought up his shield to deflect it off of. And that is the event that has then transpired from your blood cup, from the bloodstone chalice.
Bloodstone.
And you hear Farron just say, "You're learning." Ooh, interessant. He gets an 11. So his dagger is also not going to come up and actually get you either. So you quickly just sort of back out of the way, and you can hear the rushing of wind from behind you as you near the edge of the circle that he has made for you guys. And the rest of the party, you just see Caelum's kind of holding his own in this battle. Like, it looked pretty rough at the beginning, but he's not doing too bad. So Caelum, it is your turn once again.
I'm gonna, as part of the attack, just try to hook the spear, like, around his sword arm, and then just, like, shield bash him.
Okay.
To get him to back away from me. Goddamn, cocked. 16.
Okay, so a 16 is actually just enough to hit against this guy. So as your spear end butts, he actually gets disarmed from his weapon again. His sword kind of losing out. So all he has left is this wooden dagger in his hand still that he had picked up previously. It's all right. 2 for 2. And you see Farron like take a few steps back, and he closes his eyes and he brings the wooden dagger into his hand, and you can actually feel that there is another quick breeze of wind that kind of just begins to encircle him. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, and you can see that air enter into his lungs, and he takes what looks to be a runner stance and then just hops right at you. Before, like, just like he was on his first strike, it seems like the wind is at his back to help further him along when trying to strike out against you. He does not with his dagger, and he spins around on the ground again, and he's actually going to try and use his leg to kick your leg out from under you. And he is going to get a 19 to hit.
I'm sorry, yeah.
All right. So he goes with his dagger, and you bring down your shield on the, like, from where the dagger is coming in on, and then he just spins down low on the ground again and brings his leg out and just sweeps it from under you as you fall backwards.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
And he just sort of puts his wood dagger up against, like, pressing up to your throat, and just says, "And that's 3. He pops it back, stands up, and reaches down to offer you a stand. You see Mugwort just show off. And Farron just gives a gracious bow to everybody who was standing on the hillside and after he's pulled Caelum up.
Missed by that much.
You were close. Maybe next time. And he pulls his sword out of the ground, and it looks... he doesn't necessarily have what looks to be a short sword. It's actually kind of curved more towards the end, and you would know this weapon to be a saber. And he just sort of tucks it back into his holders that he has at his sides. I'm proud of you. It took Mugwort 2 years to get that many blows against me. So I think we'll count you as lucky. How about that?
No, just a little bit. Okay, fine. We'll go with lucky.
It's skill.
Yes!
It's skill, yes. But just remember, the wind will always have your back. He taps your back as he begins walking over to the rest of the group. So, well, seeing as how we came out here yesterday, or not yesterday, sorry, seeing as how we came up here earlier, and we're planning on taking a boat this morning, we have until tomorrow to wait for our boat, so do you guys have anything you want to do? Otherwise, we're just going to probably be going back towards the dock. I could treat you all to drinks if you like. Or if anybody else would like to spar. I'm still in a good mood for it.
Yes. Like, Gwen's really trying to hold herself together, but she has, like, coffee just in her veins right now. And she really
yeah.
wants to fight.
This is you drank so much coffee, but you don't feel more awake, but your heart's just beating faster.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, it is just the worst feeling. The worst possible feeling. Oh, I just need to fight and get this out. So yeah, you then rush forward, and Farron kind of laughs to himself. Well, it's been a while since I fought one of the small folk. Which do you prefer? Wooden weapons?
Oh, please say wooden, please say wooden, please say wooden.
Again, like I told Caelum, I am not above using real weapons, but if you would prefer, we do have wood that we can use.
Mugworth goes, ha!
Leans over towards Cori. He's just like, she had their choice of wood last night.
I don't get it.
Prescott just snorts at him again.
Gwen
You see him
pulls
just
out her-
shoot a dark look at Prescott and then just starts stewing on the ground.
Gwen pulls out her axe and she said, I haven't sparred with wooden weapons since I was 25.
That's a fair assumption. All right. Well, with Caelum, I knew he was a divine caster. Do you have any sort of magics or preference against or for using magics? What is your preferred?
I mean, as long as you're not gonna fireball me. I mean, I feel like I'm a barbarian, so I use kind of magic, which is really good fighting. So if you feel like you want to get on the same level as me, you can use magic. But as long as you're not phase stepping and shit, I think we're gonna be okay.
Nothing such as that. No.
Right. Yeah, let's do this.
All right. And you see that he now has his saber pulled out that has that green piece of jade in it, and then he also has what looks to be a regular dagger. It looks nice. The decoration on the handle is fine, and he just looks at you and says, "All right, same rules. I can make the same arena if you would like."
We have a healer, right?
Well,
turn around.
Hello.
Solid. Okay.
Mugwort
I'm
knows
down
how
for
to
whatever. We can go to the. I mean, not to the death, but till
the
one of
knee?
us is knocked out.
Oh, okay. That is. I'm all right. Let's do it.
If you're okay with that, I don't want to push you into anything, bruh.
No, this is. You know what? I'll consider this good training. How about that?
Yeah, let's do this shit.
Alrighty. That's a big
How much
oof.
stronger is this person than me?
How much taller?
No, stronger. Like
Oh,
this is LB, not Gwen. Gwen doesn't care,
Oh,
but
man.
LB's like, is he like level 9?
he's pretty strong.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a strunk boy.
It'll be great. Let's do it.
Okay. So yeah, you go roll for initiative as this
Okay.
fight starts, and he points his sword out at you as more wind begins to emanate from it, creating that same circle as before. He got a 15 for initiative.
Yeah, no, I got a 4, so
Okay.
I haven't tested any of my dice yet today.
So he says, well, you said magic was fine, and you see him take out a pouch at his side and set it down on the ground next to him. He just pulls a string on his side, and this bag drops to the bottom. And the three of you that are on the hill now, you hear Mugwort go, ooh. As you see Farron like bring his sword up very quickly in an upwards kind of motion as the bag on the ground just rockets towards you, just shooting up from the ground towards you.
Oh no, he dropped the pouch. Mugworth, he dropped the pouch.
And I am going to assume that a 25 hits.
Jeez.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. So this satchel hits you square in the chest. And so you are going to be taking 15 points of bludgeoning damage as this bag hits against you and explodes outward, and you see what look to be about 1,000 ball bearings just scatter all around you.
He just buckshot me.
Yeah.
That's son of a bitch.
And you see a grin on his face as you take that, and he then like brings himself into more of a defensive stance while looking against you and says, "All right, your turn." And he begins to just kind of like start circling in this wind circle.
All right. Is he done?
Yeah, that is his turn. He just
All
seems
right.
to have his weapons more pointed towards you.
I would like to rage.
Okay.
So I kind of charge up, my eyes start glowing and all of that shit.
Okay.
All right.
And as you do, you actually see the tattoo on your back that's kind of turned towards the rest of the group on the hill. You can actually see that the tattoo on Gwen's back begins to start glowing and just like radiating this aura as it begins to grow out from where it is and actually begins to wrap along their arms, as well as covering most of the rest of their body, as well as you can see tattoos coming up from the neck onto the lower part of the jaw. And Farron just looks at you and just, well, that's something you don't see every day, but fuck it. And he just keeps his sword out. So as you rush forward, make a dexterity save.
A dex save?
Yes.
Is it from a...
It is from the ball bearings as you attempt to rush over them.
Okay, I have Danger Sense, which gives me advantage on dex saving throws against effects that you can see.
Yeah, that's that danger sense.
Yeah, get that Danger Sense. Don't fuck me. Spirit dice. It's not terrible. Dex is +1, so that's a 15.
Yeah, 15 works just fine.
Cool.
You kind of like shuffle your feet forward, so you were just kicking these balls out of the way until you can get a really good rushing point, and you just are right up on him.
All right, I'm gonna hit him with my axe. My battle axe.
Do it.
All right. Oh!
Is it the good?
That's a natural 20.
Oh,
You can see
shit.
it, but it's a natural 20.
Boom, 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 boom.
Wow, I probably just messed all my shit up. All right. All right, so.
It's the day I watch one of my heroes die.
Sorry, bro. Oh, that's not great. Do we roll twice or do we double?
I roll twice.
So that's 10 damage.
Okay. So yeah, he is not exactly liking the 10 damage, but he lets out kind of a laugh as you strike against him, and it's just one of those like, ha ha, ow, God, like you just stabbed, like you just slashed into him with an axe. But the fact that you are just like glowing and have this radiating aura around you is putting Farron in the best of spirits right now.
Cool. And I'm gonna shift like through his legs and get behind him.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
So yeah, you pop behind him, and as you do, he swings wide with his right side in an attempt to just kind of bring the dagger around into you. And he is going to get a 13 to hit. Okay.
14.
So he misses with the dagger and then comes over the top with the short sword that he's using. And he is going to get a 25 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Okay. So you are going to take 7 points of slashing damage.
Is that halved?
Yes, it would be halved since you are currently raging.
Okay.
And he is actually going to use his bonus action to, or he won't use his bonus action yet. What he'll do actually is that he will, you see him look at you and just go, well, you seem sturdy. And he brings his hand up and you feel this gust of wind surge past. I would like for you to make a strength saving throw as he attempts to use the gust spell on you.
Ooh, a strength saving throw. I could do that. Ooh, that's a 21.
Damn. So, to all you listeners out there, he had to use his action surge in order to do this. Just as a tip, because you can't attack twice and then use a spell.
Right.
Just wanted to throw it out there.
I trust you.
Yeah. So he goes to shove you with this wind. And as you just bring your feet down in this powerful stance, like this guy might be like weird fraternizer with wind powers or whatever, but like you grew up in the Tread Thunder clan. This is nothing compared to what you've seen before. So you just bear through these winds, and the rest of you actually start seeing this like glowing form start growing larger out of Gwen as the fight continues to progress. So Gwen, it is your turn.
All right. I would like to double attack, please. All right.
Mugwort
so
just,
that
one normally works.
The battle axe is 11.
Okay.
And then the hand axe is why 12?
Yeah, the 11 and the 12 are not going to hit.
You can go back in the box. No, you got me a natural 20. You can stay up for a little bit longer. You're in a timeout though.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of move around him like I'm 8-point fighting him.
Yeah. And he is just having a blast with this, by the way. Like, this is the most effort that somebody has really made him put forth in a long time. So at this point, you actually see him kind of like twist his body up and bring the sword over his head, and he's going to try and do a downward slash towards you again, this time using his short sword first, or his saber first. And he is going to get a 22 to hit.
It's either he really misses or he just like, whoof.
Yeah, and he got 9 points of slashing damage, which would then be reduced to 5. Yes, the 5
Can we
number.
round down for us?
Everyone rounds the same.
Oh.
Yep. It usually turns out more advantageous to the players that way.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, he is going to bring his saber down on you, and then he is going to try and then just kind of go into your lower side with his dagger as well. And that is going to be another 23 to hit.
Jeez Louise.
He is going to get 7 points of slashing damage, or of piercing damage with his dagger.
Got it. I'm looking beat up, but I'm still up.
All right. It is your turn.
All right, I am going to yeah. I'm gonna reckless attack. Why not?
Oh,
Was my
shit.
first one. Because
Did anyone ever tell you you're really good at this? And he just continues fighting against you.
Who was the guy last night? Mugwort?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say Mugwort told me last night, and I did get another natural 20 on that.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Bwomp, 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 bwomp.
See, you either do really well or you do really crappy, and I appreciate you when you do really well. So you can stay out, okay? I'm sorry I put you in timeout. All right. That's another 10 damage.
Okay. Sounds good. So at this point, you actually start seeing what looks to be, the rest of you anyway, start seeing this like glowing, teal, seafoamy, like blue-greenish figure looming over Gwen that seems to be sharing the same footsteps and stances, but it is holding this like large spectral axe in its hands as it continues to fight. And you see Farron's eyes, like he looks at you, looks at that, looks at you, just... All right then, I guess we're really doing this.
I get one more attack, so I'm gonna do that. Right?
Yes.
Battle axe and on.
Yes.
Because I reckless. Oh, that's a 17 plus 4.
Yeah, you hit him.
Get this shit. Dude, which one do I want? I want you. You're my favorite. It's a 3. So 5 damage for that one.
Okay. So yeah, it is at that point that you kind of get him under one of his legs, and you actually get him underneath the backside of his right calf and kind of pull forward, and you force his knee to come down and actually plant itself against the ground. And when you do, he just looks at his knee, looks at you, hands up, and just drops his weapons.
Good job, old man. And I kind of, I like let him go, and I, do the whole warrior bow thing.
And as you're doing this warrior bow and kind of like showboat a little bit, the rest of you guys just see like this spectral figure that's just going motion for motion, like a little bit of showboatiness, and then the warrior's bow afterward. And then as that kind of fades away, you see that figure just slowly shrink down back into Gwen as the tattoos, as those what look to be tattoos on the arms steadily just begin shrinking back up the legs, back down from the chest until it is all centered around Gwen's back.
That was pretty good, dude.
That was outright impressive, to say the least. What is that, by the way? There was like a big glowy man who was fighting along with you. I've never seen anything like that before, so like...
I'd fight by myself. What do you mean? Did I feel anything different?
You felt a lot of rage. You felt a lot of really, really good rage.
Yeah.
And then, just Farron looks over, just, hey, Prescott. You saw that, right? And Prescott's just like, eyes wide, just like, yep. And he's like, all right, well, you really didn't see anything.
I mean, I saw you, and I saw like the fire rage that I usually see, but it was like really intense.
Can you minor illusion something? And you see Prescott just like kind of nod and brings his hands up, and out from his hands, and almost what looks to be like a projector screen that just sort of like hovers in the air. You see a still of yourself with this large glowing like seafoam teal humanoid entity behind you, with similar tattoo markings and a similar stance as you, fighting off against Farron.
Would I know what this is?
Make a history check.
Okay.
Just gonna quickly run down there and heal the both of them.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm sure it's not that great. History. Oh, no, that's a 4. Oh.
I mean, you remember hearing something about this when you were getting your back tattooed. But it was like you had already been drinking a lot that day. This was more of a just like, oh, I'm sure somebody probably said something about it, but...
Yeah. Can I tell that it's what it is, what the creature is?
You can see that it looks like a Goliath.
Oh shit.
And it has this just giant double axe in its hands.
That happened to me?
Yeah. It was kind of one of the reasons why I more wanted to kind of, stop the fight. That and you did get me to a knee, so really this is all for you.
Oh. Cool. I'm gonna, good fight. Good job.
I agree. It
Proud
was a
of
very
you.
good fight, and I look forward to doing it again next time we get the chance.
Yeah. Cool. And she just like walks away, like trying to think about what's going on in her head. Like just not into the distance, but like off by herself somewhere, like not thinking about where she's going.
You got that like way too tired, like swivel back and forth as you're just kind of like meandering through this open field.
Yeah.
And Farron just has this dumbfounded look on his face. Just, I've never seen anything like that before. That was. Looks like you found yourself some strong friends, Caelum. And he claps you on the back. And Mugwort just like. And checking off another thing I did not know I had the checkbox for.
They both heal for 11.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Prescott just... normally I don't really think too much about the small folk, but that one seems like it actually has... There's a little bit more there going on.
Yeah.
Caelum, have you ever seen anything like this before?
I just met them like a week ago, so like, no.
That is entirely fair. But if you want my professional advice as an adventurer, keep these ones close. He pats you on the back. Now, if you guys need us, we're going to be down at Fang's. Spending our last day here on the docks. And if you'd like, we can either share a drink tonight or you can see us off before we go.
Just like head nods.
All right. And remember, one bard song before year's end. And he begins walking off with Prescott and Mugwort. And Mugwort just yells after Gwen, "You know where to find me!" And so then it is the four of you standing outside the walls of Shroudfort once again, as it is now a little bit after noon. The sun is high in the sky, and you have your adventures awaiting before you. But that is where we are going to call it for the evening. So first off, I would like to say thank you to all these wonderful players for coming by and putting up with my bullshit, because it's fun. It's fun for me. Yay. It's fun for the whole family. Okay, maybe not like the whole family, but like a solid good... it's fun for a nuclear family. If the nuclear family is like all over 20. That's a good time. But I would like to say, first and foremost, thank you to everybody who decided to stop by. You guys are great, and I'm really glad that you were all able to witness the second part of Hallowed. So, we are going to go into our sign-offs as we usually do. RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hey everybody, I'm RJustice22 on Twitter and the Twitch. You can follow me there, where I tweet about the nerdy things and the day-to-days of my normal life. And you can catch me on Tuesday as I play Hubris, our lovable tiefling warlock who is about to raise some hell.
Tuesday's gonna be good.
Tuesday gonna be good.
Speaking of Tuesday, LB, where can we find you? What do you do?
I am LBHackEmUp. You can find me here on Mondays and Tuesdays. I got burned to a crisp last week on Tuesday, so we'll see.
What DM would do such a vile thing?
I don't know. And Wednesday, I'm going to be streaming on my own channel for the first time. That's not a kitten stream. So it's LBHackEmUp, same as everything else. I probably will be playing Fallout, and then if I get bored and drunk enough, I'll play Overwatch. So
This is good.
that's good.
It's a good time. So, next up, Cyberwolf. Where can we find you? What do you do?
Hello. You can find me at Cyberwolf1201 on the Twitterverse, where I have been known to tweet every now and then with some nice shit posts about Critical Role and stuff. You can also find me here on Twitch at Cyberwolf1201, where I play video games badly and talk about lore. You can find a YouTube somewhere in there where I post things like a podcast that Kyle with an N and I do. That I'm totally gonna edit and post a new episode pretty soon, I guess.
Editing's hard.
Editing's hard. And yeah. You can find me on Saturdays on Per Restarter's channel, where we're about to end one campaign, I think, maybe. You can find me here, which is great. I've been having a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
Forgetting all my trauma.
Just lock it away. Just lock it away. What's the worst that could happen? You'll bottle it up?
I mean, hey, maybe things will come out of that later. I don't know.
Who's to say?
I'm not plotting with you about anything.
Definitely
what?
not.
And I don't make appearances on this channel. This channel being Open for Adventure. You can find them at Open for Adventure on Twitch. But they're doing cool stuff later this month, and you should follow them because they're cool. Yeah.
I agree. And then last but not least, we also have Danae. Danae, where can we find you? What do you do?
Hi, everybody. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com, and that's where my portfolio is. You can find all kinds of D&D illustrations, and you can also commission me if you so choose. And I also do a doodle stream adjacent to this stream, and you can see all of the heart-wrenching doodles that come out of the game. And I also post those on my website, so you can see them there.
All right, and last but not least, I am the Indoor Adventurer, but you probably knew that if you wound up at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventurer, where you can find all of the hottest homebrew content. Just kidding, it's not all of it, it's really just like my Monday game. But it's cool, it's great, it's fine. So I am the Indoor Adventurer. You can find me Monday nights on Twitch doing this thing with all of these wonderful people. You can find me Tuesday nights going through our, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. It just didn't sound right mentally. I don't know why. I was like, Water Dragon Dungeon Heist. No, wait. On Wednesdays, I play Neverwinter with my dear friend Reeves Bot. And then the rest of the week, I try and recoup because this stuff, man, Monday and Tuesdays get intense. But it's fun. And if you guys are interested, as I said earlier, if you want to hop into our Discord chat, you totally can, as long as you are a subscriber or you support on Patreon, which we totally have. All of those things are super fun. So either way, you can get into the chat and have fun looking at all sorts of interesting memes. Just kidding. I mean, they're memes. And we do a lot of music suggestions for each other. So if you are a lover of music, lover of adventure, and lover of lore, the Discord is right for you. And then we also have our audio cast. So if you are listening to this on the audio cast, thank you all. You guys are great. And for all of you who didn't know about it, it is a really easy and great way to check out past episodes. So that way you can listen to them on your commute. So if you wake up first thing in the morning and you think, man, some psychological trauma from Indoor Adventurer is exactly what I need to start the day, then you're right. And then you can come and download either tonight's episode, last week's episode, or any of these wonderful episodes that we have with such a great cast of people. So once again, I want to say thank you all for coming by, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.